At UCLA, no doubt.
In the circle, it will be the very first super regional appearance for Caitlin Terry because she is a true freshman.
And what an opportunity, right? The experience she got last weekend in the regionals threw really, really well. Those are the little things you need to carry over into just the type of feel that this game is going to give you, because the heart rate's going to be escalated a little bit. There's a lot on the line, but that's the best part. And that's why you go to programs like UCLA to get to experience this.
Dallas Goodnight will lead off here for this Georgia Bulldog lineup. And this team, these two teams squared off in February. Now, Caitlin Terry didn't throw very many innings in that game, didn't even throw a full inning against the Georgia Bulldogs, but she's so different now then.
She is, yeah. She's fiery as ever. I think that competitive spirit to me is something that really stands out. She's someone that definitely is throwing a little bit harder than I would say she probably was throwing in February. She did battle a little bit of time off, November, December, January. So she's kind of worked that process to get back into season form, and she's been the go-to.
Well, that's the first strike that she'll send in against Dallas Goodnight, who hits .351 at the top of the Georgia Bulldogs lineup.
That first inning, so important. Kind of establish what that strike zone's going to be, especially for KT and being that left-handed pitcher going up against the lefties, spinning that curve.
And Caitlin Terry catching back up. It's a full count now to Dallas Goodnight, the leadoff.
You know, she's going to be able to get that spot up in on a hitter. I mean, that's a tough pitch for those lefties to be able to barrel up top of the strike zone.
And she starts her very first super regional with a strikeout. Look, every batter, it's going to be such a battle with this Georgia Bulldog lineup, because in regionals, they actually absolutely crushed the softball. 9 home runs, 6 of those coming in one game. And Sydney Chamblee had a couple of those. She's up at the plate now.
And you want to be able to rely on those types of moments for sure, but it's a new adjustment going up in this type of an environment with a lot on the line. You want to punch your ticket to Oklahoma City, and it takes 2 games to get there. So it's working your process, I think, as an offense, but learning how to adjust in game is key against Caitlin Terry. But the one thing that I will say, Courtney, like, you have 2 pitchers that have never experienced the postseason like this, right? Like, Backus for Georgia is that transfer that didn't get to experience the super regionals, and you say the same thing for the freshman Caitlin Terry.
So pitching the X factor in this super for you?
I mean, you know that you're going to score runs and you're going to see great defense. That's what we've seen carry over. So I think it comes down to which pitcher is really able to tame that type of adrenaline that they're feeling and the emotions of it. And I also think giving up free passes can end up coming to hurt you.
We've seen how both of these teams can absolutely open a floodgate in 1 inning and score a ton of runs.
And I think not getting beat by those hitters that tend to continue to keep having success in the postseason is going to be very important. I think about Jada Kearney, Sarah Mosley, being aware of counts and who's up and the game on the line type moments. And you can say the same thing for UCLA with Charlize Palacios and Maya Brady. Those 2 players right there with the game on the line, I do not want them to beat me.
And Maya Brady will see her lead off for this UCLA team once again, the back-to-back Pac-12 Player of the Year. It's a full count to Sydney Chamblee, and this time it is a free pass. The first one issued by Caitlin Terry. Now, Caitlin Terry was so good in the regional last week for this UCLA team. We saw her twice. She pitched 10 2/3 innings and struck out 10.
Yeah, she's been so good, and I think really coming into her own, right? Like, she took some time off November, December, and January, and you saw Taylor Tinsley carry the load a little bit. This groove continuing to be performing, honestly, the way that she has been, because sometimes you don't know what you're going to get from a freshman. You don't know how they're going to handle the heat and the pressure and all the things that comes with being that solidified ace. So she has been that. Taylor Tinsley has helped her, no doubt, but it has been Caitlin Terry as of late.
And Jada Kearney's immediately going to foul that ball off.
But looking at Caitlin Terry's kind of 6'4" information, I was curious, like, hey, usually those lefty-lefty matchups, the left-handed hitters tend to have a little bit of a slower progression against a pitcher like that. But she's a 281 against those left-handed hitters and a 186 against the righties. She carves up the righties.
Gonna jam Kearney. UCLA looking for two. And they get both. A double play turned by the Bruins. Just the 11th double play of the season, but they will take it in the top of the first inning in their super regional opener.
And in part by the new DQ Summer Blizzard Treat Menu. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, both of these teams making it through the regional round was not easy for Georgia. They had their backs against the wall on Sunday, but now Lily Backus back in the circle, the transfer from North Carolina, and she has taken the majority of the pitching load for this Georgia team.
Yeah, Lily Backus, I mean, she's going to be, I think, looking at a repertoire of pitches. She's been able to spin the ball up in the zone. We saw her have success with that last weekend, so that's going to be a big pitch. I also think being able to throw that off speed is huge. To me, in order to beat a UCLA offense, you have to be able to change speeds, and that's something she has in her arsenal and has the command to be able to throw, no doubt. And then it's that lefty-lefty matchup with the curveball that always continues to roll for Lily Backus, but she's going up against a very tough UCLA offense.
And it starts with Maya Brady, who was a top 10 finalist for National Player of the Year for the second season in a row. She has won back-to-back Pac-12 Player of the Year awards. And take a look at the Capital One starting lineup for this UCLA Bruins team. I mean, she sets the tone, coming in on a 5-game hit streak, hitting .563. And the undisputed leader of this UCLA team.
Yes. Something that Coach Kelly Inouye-Perez has just said nonstop. She's been huge as far as being able to get this team back where they need it to be when they maybe didn't start the way UCLA normally starts.
It was actually this Georgia team that dropped UCLA to 3-4 on the season, which was their worst start since 1986. And then Kelly Inouye-Perez and this Bruin team got things turned around, won the Pac-12 regular season and tournament championship.
And an article that I read that Kelly had came out and said, she said, we brought the girls all out on the field and got them to put softballs all out to talk about the different parts of this season. And what Kelly referred to was like, look at how many softballs there are. There is so much time left to play, you guys. We got to jump on board and find a way to be different. But you cannot jump ahead and count yourself out in the beginning and in February.
Foul ball.
And I thought it was a cool way for her to, you know, a visual for these athletes, because when you play with a program like UCLA, there's an expectation of where you're supposed to go at the end of the season. There is that pressure that you need to be able to live up to, and they've been so fortunate to have the leaders that they've been able to have.
Yeah, starting 3-4, and then since March 1st, 33-4. 2-2 here to Maya Brady. Maya Brady with a super start to this super regional, a solo home run. That is her 70th career homer at UCLA, second most. And that's how you set the tone.
And what I liked about Maya Brady is she works 6 pitches and gets something she can handle. Too meaty, in my opinion, and Lily Backus knows it. And that's the start for Maya Brady that you want to have, especially with the pressure that goes into this type of a series, getting to host at home crowd. There's a lot of importance in being able to start off with a bang like that.
Her first career leadoff home run to start the game. That gives her now 16 on the season. And brings us to Jadalyn Alchin, the outstanding left fielder who transferred in from Washington. When you think UCLA is happy to be here, remember, this time last year, they were at home. Their season was over. They were upset. They went 0-2 in the regional round, losing to Grand Canyon and then eliminated by Liberty.
And I think that's why you saw the way that they handled business last weekend, right? Like, understanding that you need to respect the game and things like that can happen. That's something Coach Kelly Inouye-Perez talks about all the time. Like, anyone can beat you on any given day. And they went into last weekend with revenge on their mind, and they poured it on.
2 run rule victories, both coming over Grand Canyon. And they had to come from behind in their second game against Virginia Tech. It tied for the largest comeback in the postseason. They trailed by 4. Kelly Inouye-Perez, I mean, knows this program maybe better than anybody. Player at UCLA, now a coach.
And the importance, too, like, we talked with Tony Baldwin and this team earlier, and the one thing he said, like, hey, we can afford to give up the solo shot. Like, we understand that part. It's when you start to do the little things wrong and give up the free passes and then give up that 2 or 3 run shot that makes you feel down right away. So it's keeping that perspective as a pitcher that you're going to maybe give up a home run.
Alchin, this one will be short, and Dallas Goodnight comes over to make the grab for out number 1.
And it's interesting because, like, when I think of being able to have that short-term memory as a pitcher, like, it's not easy going into a game like this knowing, all right, a lot of runs can be scored. I may have to wear that feeling as a pitcher, but I have to have that short-term type memory.
Especially when Charlize Palacios is stepping up to the plate. No hotter hitter, 9 home runs in her last 16 games, 3 home runs last weekend in the regional. So when we asked Tony Baldwin and Lily Backus, how are you going to handle the hitters like a Charlize Palacios? And you got to be careful with those misses.
Yeah, smart misses, I think, is important. Respecting that she has opposite field home run power. We saw it twice last weekend.
This one's going to be short, and Goodnight will get some work again in center field. And if you're Georgia, that's a win.
And I think it's the process that you're trying to get these hitters out, right? Like, every pitch is one that's setting up another one. Like, that one misses a little bit over the plate, but the fact that she takes speed off at 58 miles an hour and the timing of Palacios is disrupted, and that's what it's going to be. Backus has to be able to throw that changeup a ton, hit good spots.
Backus facing Megan Grant now. Maya Brady led off this game with a solo home run. Put UCLA up early. And Ellie Armistead will take it from short. You wanted some offense. We got some with the first batter.
Well, Maya Brady continuing to be on a tear, setting the tone for this Bruin offense as they're up 1-0.
Make this a summer to share at Courtesy Kia of Brandon during the Kia Summer.
7, and there were 2 outs in the 7th.
Talk about like an emotional roller coaster, right? Like, some of these players were thinking maybe their season was done. Being able to play with the seniors was over, and it was just this kind of emotional moment. To be able to hit that type of run in to take your team to the Super Regional, like, those little moments are things you do not forget.
Yeah, they played 5 games last weekend, and Sydney Chambly with the walk-off to send them to Supers. And Tony Baldwin in his 3rd year as the head coach, 12th year with the program, back into the Super Regional for the second. Offense, obviously a big part of that, and Sarah Mosley, who leads off this inning, leading the team, tied for the lead. Her and Jana Kearney both have 20 home runs. They're the first duo at Georgia to have 20 each in a season. Looking for a spot in the outfield. Diving, Jadalyn Alchin. Web gem for the Bruins.
Like, I legit have goosebumps that will not go down right now. Watching that play, Jadalyn Alchin, are you kidding me? I thought this was a no-doubter, Courtney. Alchin just laced it all out on the line. You see Maonyo just This is what it's all about. Coach Kelly Inouye-Perez says nonstop that the defense needs to have Caitlin Terry's back, and that's an example. Sports Center top 10 all day.
Da-na-na, da-na-na. This UCLA defense, no more than one error in their last 18 games. They have been so solid, and now it brings us to the catcher, Lindy Ray Davis, facing Caitlin Terry. When you see a catch like that in the outfield, how do you feel as a pitcher?
Oh, I mean, those are the little things that kind of help relieve the fact that someone just hit a liner off you.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, right? You're like, okay, man, she totally had my back in that moment. But I think the flip side for Georgia, like those are the things that have to give you confidence too. That's a heck of a play. But for Mosey to be able to go and line something like that ignites this different confidence into the rest of the lineup. Like, oh, okay, good. She got a solid pitch that she can handle and starts to give you that little pep in your step. Like, all right, good. I got it too.
Yeah. Right now, Caitlin Terry sending 3 balls and a strike to Lindy Ray Davis. Saw her get the nod at the catching position most of last weekend's regional. And now for the second time tonight, Terry will walk a batter.
And the one thing I feel like I can say about both of these teams, like they are pedal to the metal until the last out. Like I've had the luxury of getting to play Georgia in my career at Washington, and I know they were the team that never went away. It was one of the hardest fought battles back in the day against that team in the World Series in 2009 and 2010, and you know that that's the kind of rich tradition that they've carried on of being that scrappy, ruthless team that you fear as a pitcher a little bit. You have that mentality going up against them that it is going to be a hard-fought battle.
And on the other side, a UCLA team that has 11 wins this season when tied or trailing in the 5th inning or later. That's terrifying. It's a Sydney Kuma.
I like that inner half. I think that is a pitch that pitchers want to be able to get. You want to establish that inside part of the zone. Maybe that was a smidge in, but I think there's a fear factor to still throwing that pitch and maybe not getting it called for a strike.
High hopper over to Curro. UCLA won't be able to turn 2, but they do get the lead runner as Curro hits Maya Brady. So Kuma able to reach on the fielder's choice.
And defense is the one thing that you need to be able to rely on as a pitcher. When you're rolling those ground balls with who you have behind you, if you're Caitlin Terry with Maya Brady and Seneca Curro up the middle, I mean, all the confidence in the world when you can spin those little ground balls.
There's Jaden Goodwin. Sydney Kuma at first, by the way, does have 10 stolen bases on the season. That's second on the team. So someone to keep an eye on. Goodwin gets jammed. Maya Brady wants it. And Georgia is going to leave a runner on. Game 1 of our Super Regional here in Westwood, and UCLA leading Georgia 1-0. If you're around the UCLA program enough, you'll hear the phrase Bruin Magic, and that is very much a real thing, especially this season. But it goes back to the history, too, of this Bruin program. They have had 3 USA Softball Collegiate Player of the Year awards. Rachel Garcia won 2, and then, of course, Stacey Newfman won 1. They have been to the Women's College World Series more than any other program, and guess what? They have won more national titles than any other program. That is some Bruin magic, including this season. How about 4 walk-off wins? One of those being last week against Virginia Tech.
Yeah, that was an epic game on Saturday, game 1 of that regional. They were down 4. And that, to me, is like the example of the Bruin magic mentality they talk about. Like, they almost start to heat up in the 5th and 6th inning if they have not up until that point. Like, we've seen it happen. Gosh, I mean, they had 11 unanswered runs a couple weeks ago against Arizona.
And Jordan Woolery leading off this inning, 5, 6, and 7 due up. Yeah, that was senior day here for UCLA. They were down by 7. It is the largest comeback in program history. They did it against their rival to score those 11 unanswered runs. Scooped by Jaden Goodwin.
I like the response from Backus since giving up that solo shot. I mean, we've had 4 in a row where she's getting a little bit of elevate, but almost kind of seems like some jam jobs. And to me, it's the response, right? Yeah, it's never fun to give up that solo shot to someone like Maya Brady to get the crowd roaring, but how you respond and answer back is what shows your teammates the fight you have. And I think something Tony Baldwin really expressed today when we got the chance to talk to him, like the importance of attacking the lower half of the Bruin lineup is key for these pitchers to be able to have success in a series like this. Because you have to nod and respect the fact that Maya Brady and Alchin and Palacios are the types of hitters that are consistent, and they're going to look for their walks if the time is there, but they want to get on base. So you have to be able to not turn that lineup over by the free passes. Has to be attack mentality, and that's what I've seen from Backus.
And this is the number 6 hitter in the lineup, Savannah Pola, who, speaking of the walk-offs we just talked about, walked it off against Virginia Tech on Saturday to keep UCLA going. Count evens up at 2-2 to Pola.
There's the off-speed, birdie.
And since that home run, Backus has retired the last 5 batters.
And it's about working counts, right? To me, it's the curveball that sets up the changeup. Yeah, she doesn't get it for a strike at a 1-2 count because it's way out, but she's able to come back with something low in the zone. And the importance of being able to hit quality location, depending on what the counts are, is going to be key. And looking at Lily Backus last weekend, I mean, she threw 272 pitches over that span. And the coolest thing was asking her, like, hey, what did you feel? And she goes, well, it felt like our backs were up against the wall. And I was like, well, how did that make you feel? She goes, oh, it just felt fine. Like I knew my team was going to have my back. And it was just for someone that had not experienced that type of environment, transferring in from North Carolina, she didn't get to have that regional feel, nor has she got to have the super regional feel. And sometimes trying to contain what those emotions are, I mean, the experience she got last weekend is great going in, especially UCLA's house.
Well, too, she's playing for her dream school now. This is a player in Lily Backus who grew up 2 hours away from Athens, used to go to Georgia softball games. Didn't work out coming out of college, or out of high school, to go directly there, went to North Carolina first, but now pitching for Georgia here. And she told us, too, last week, yeah, our backs were against the wall, but they've got 10 graduate players, 10 seniors on this team. She said, I'm doing it for them.
Yeah. I think it gives you a different shift in perspective when you are so senior heavy, because you're playing for something so much bigger than yourselves. You're playing to get another day with your buddies, to take the field together.
Upstairs will run the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Seneca Kuro. Dallas Goodnight drops her glove down in center, and no more damage done. A 3 up, 3 down inning for this Georgia defense, and they still just trail by 1.
Fantastic matchup. 2 of the very best. This is going to be a great fight.
For 41 years, softball's best have battled it out. Who will be crowned this year? Will someone from the field step up, or will Oklahoma's dominance continue? Only time will tell, but you're invited to sit back and watch the ride, because for 2 weeks in June, everyone's a softball fan.
Nothing gets you fired up like Karen Weekly hitting the gritty in that. Gets me every time. Can you believe it? This time next week, the World Series is going to start.
No, it's crept up pretty quickly.
I'm ready. It's awesome. UCLA, the most Women's College World Series titles all time, 12 NCAA titles. This is just the first day of Super Regionals. You saw Oklahoma get the win earlier, and now UCLA up by 1, but Emily Digby takes her first pitch of her first Super as a true freshman and gets on base. Tomorrow, the rest of the softball world gets into action with their Supers. Baylor and Florida coming up at noon Eastern tomorrow. All these 3 games on ESPN2, and a little rivalry, Alabama-Tennessee again. There's Ellie Armistead hitting in the 9 spot. Any other Super catching your eye for tomorrow, Danielle?
I'm into that Texas A&M, Texas.
Yeah?
I like a little in-state rivalry type feel.
Do you hook them or do you gig them? We'll find out.
We shall see. I also believe that probably one of the hardest, more importantly, you think of the, Berzon and Kelly Lynch and how good those two have comboed off each other. And to me, is the hitting of Stanford going to be able to show up? That's really what I think about. Can you give Nyjah Kennedy the run support that she needs?
Yeah, and that'll be tomorrow at 10 Eastern on ESPNU. That was kind of their issue in the Pac-12 tournament.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the runs that they needed, and we're actually hosting that final Pac-12 tournament. Got booted a bit early. We just had a quick switch of the armbands for Caitlin Terry and Charlize Palacios. A new card inserted in there. That was the little pause. And now it's 1-1 to Ellie Armistead, the shortstop.
And I think for Ellie Armistead right now, the importance of, especially being the bottom half of the lineup, being in that 9 spot, you want to try to advance that runner, knowing Goodnight, Chambly, Kearney are waiting in the wings.
She is trying to break out of a little trouble spot right here. 0 for 10 in NCAA this season. The tying run is at first. Pop up a chance for UCLA to make this play, and Jordan Woolery gets there. That retires Armistead.
And that's one, if you're Armistead, you want to get back, especially at a 3-1 count. Has to be a crush pitch. That could not have been any better for Caitlin Terry. That jam job all day, Woolery. Love it. Next play right away. I think always making the play, but knowing it's the next play that matters the most. I feel like that's what we've seen from both of these 2 teams in the defense department over the last couple weeks, especially in the regionals. Both these teams completely shined when it comes to the Wem Gems.
That big cut from Dallas Goodnight will be strike 2. Goodnight at the top of this order for the second time, struck out her first time against Caitlin Terry to start the game. She moved into this leadoff spot the last 15 games of the regular season, and Georgia really liked her there, how she set the table for them. But she's going to strike out for the second time tonight. Caitlin Terry's only 2 strikeouts are sitting down Dallas Goodnight.
Caitlin Terry has absolutely carved up Dallas Goodnight her last at-bats, but everything is about the setup pitch and the location of what you're throwing at those counts, and then she's able to just gas her up with the curve on the outside part of the plate. Something about Caitlin Terry, when there's a little bit of pressure on or she gives up a hit, something happens. One thing Kelly Inouye-Perez said she does is there's full accountability. Hey, that's my bad. I know I gave up that hit, but it's the back to business. Next pitch.
And she's had to carry the majority of the load recently as they have been trying to rest Taylor Tinsley. They were towards the end of the season. We've seen her limited in the postseason, including that Pac-12 tournament. Caitlin Terry actually started 7 straight games until regionals last weekend. And she's pitched 88% of their innings since May 3rd.
And my question for UCLA has been all year, is Taylor Tinsley someone that's going to be healthy enough to get them to where they need to go with Caitlin Terry? Because you know she's rock solid and she is ready.
You see Tinsley in the bullpen there, number 23 in white. Chambly pops this one up. Maonio wants it. She gets it, and Georgia leaves the tying run on. Bulldogs get their first hit of the game, but can't bring it home. Of networks, yes, Jocelyn Allo is coming to AU, but check out this draft class. And the super regional players that are playing right now, they're highlighted. Maya Brady being one of those. Of course, she's focused right now on playing in this super, but it'd be cool to see who all's going to go over and play AU.
Yeah, and AUX, which is going to be kicking off June 10th, right after the Women's College World Series. That'll be at Wichita State they're going to be playing. So in case you're wondering, softball will be on television after the Women's College World Series. I know everyone has that moment of heartbreak thinking, is it done?
Mayhem's over?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Courtney Lyle and Danielle Laurie with you from Westwood. Game 1 of our super regional here between UCLA and Georgia. It's best 2 out of 3, and the winner is moving on to Oklahoma City next week. Tessa Malaulu will lead off here for UCLA. Their run on the board was thanks to Maya Brady, who had a solo shot to start this game. This one rolls to Sydney Kuma. But now Lily Backus and her defense have retired 7 straight since giving up that home run.
And when we talked to this team earlier today, just about the defensive piece and the importance and how much JT D'Amico has come into play with being able to really get them dialed. And these athletes have found this like different type of love for it. And I think of someone like a Jada Kearney with what she said today. And just at times I was nervous that I would make a mistake. And JT has completely transformed the way that we go about our business, and I was fortunate enough to get to play with JT D'Amico when he was at the University of Washington. I'd say he helped me out with my PFPs as much as he could. Yeah. But, I mean, he's just a specialist and so good at just building these athletes up confidence-wise. I mean, you've seen the same thing with Digby at first base, and she came in as a middle infielder, and they kind of had with the seniors and everyone they had to put her in at first base, and the easiest transition for her in the sense, where do I need to put my feet? And then she was locked in, and JT just able to work with her.
Well, that one comes in high on Janelle Maonio, but ball 3 here. Yeah, and you can tell, I mean, Georgia's been really solid. No more than 1 error in their last 15 games defensively. They do this drill, too, they told us. They laughed. It's called Amazon Prime. It's a team defensive drill, but everybody plays every position. So everybody stands in the circle and takes a comebacker as a pitcher. Not a good feeling, I would imagine. Sarah Mosley retires Maonio.
And what was my line to Tony Baldwin for the athletes that are getting to pitch that don't normally pitch? You remember what I said?
No, I don't remember what you said.
Are they putting their arm around 80 times in a row to then throw overhand? Because at times that tends to be sometimes the struggle for pitchers.
Well, the difference in the game right now is Maya Brady's bat. A home run to start the game, and now the top of the order for the second time. How does Lily Backus pitch her now? First pitch strike. Good start.
And I like that. If you're going to be able to get that spot, I like that spot. I think umpire zones at times have been tighter. I think it's been a hitter's game this year more than it's been a pitcher's game. I'm okay with being able to get that corner.
Maya Brady to center. Dallas Goodnight, it pops out of her glove. And Brady gets down, sliding into second.
Well, and Maya Brady could not have hit this any harder. And at times, as an outfielder, it is so hard to track. And I think this is a play that needs to be made. Dallas Goodnight knows that it needs to be made. It's going to be a hit in the books.
That's a double for Maya Brady. Her team leading 13th double of the season. She's done tonight.
But when I do go back and look at that, like if you ask Dallas Goodnight, she goes, she'd say, I need to make that play.
Yeah.
Like that's a play that we've seen her make. We saw her make a ton last weekend in the Athens Regional.
Jalen Alchin gets that by Digby. Maya Brady coming around to the plate, and Georgia with no chance to catch her. It's 2-0 UCLA.
That's back-to-back hard hits here for UCLA, especially with 2 down. Turns on this pitch to Digby, just not able to scoop it and get it, and gives enough to Maya Brady with her speed to add on another run here.
An RBI single for Jadalyn Alchin. And Palacios has been clutch. 6 of her last 9 home runs have either tied or given UCLA the lead. Now, they have the lead here, obviously, but she would love to add to it, especially against a Georgia team that can also open the floodgates and score a bunch of runs in 1 inning.
Yeah, no doubt. When I said it's pedal to the metal, that's what it is for both of these teams. And you look at the road that Georgia took to get to this point. Like, they went through a lot last weekend, down to 1 out in the regional where they could have potentially got eliminated. I mean, Liberty and their performance, exceptional. But Georgia got the best of them in that Game 7 matchup, and it's what brought them to this point. So those are the little things at times that get you over the hump, that little confidence in a super regional.
And 4 balls to Palacios will put her on the first free pass issued by Lily Backus tonight.
And that's an okay walk, Courtney. If you're already down in the count, 2-0, 3-0, there's just no point to give her anything she can do damage with. And it's not taking away the fact that Megan Grant is great at what she does. But I look at matchups, too. I mean, lefty-lefty is probably more comfortable for Backus instead of going up in on the hands of Palacios. Starts her off, changeup right out of the gate.
Megan Grant, 333 in the NCAA tournament this year. And Backus ahead 0-2.
And a 125 average off that left-handed changeup. So those are the little things as a left-handed pitcher that I'm aware of in the moment, knowing at times that UCLA can struggle a little bit with the off-speed. But Megan Grant one swing away from blowing this game open. Remembering one pitch sets up another, so we've seen Backus have success throwing that curveball against the lefties and then being able to go with that off speed down in the zone away. But you're right, I mean, big difference here the second time through the lineup with the adjustments. I mean, the amount of pitches, 21 now that Backus has had to throw here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. They're making her work a lot more. 7th of this at bat.
Megan Grant fouls that one off. Just a battle with Backus here with 2 outs and 2 on.
and maybe this is risky me saying this, but looking at pitches that Megan Grant has got herself out in on the pass, I mean, that rise ball, she has that 34% chase at that pitch up in the zone. She could sneak something under the hands.
Back-to-back walks, loads them up. Chelsea Wilkinson, the pitching coach, we're going to come out for Georgia. JT D'Amico talking to his infield, too. What are you going over here? 2 outs, bases loaded with Jordan Woolery at the plate.
Yeah, using your defense here. And sometimes when you have bases loaded, you feel a different type of pressure. But I think when you look back, hey, I have 2 outs. I got to roll a ground ball, any base. And I think being able to go out and kind of control the heart rate a little bit. Like I said, this is a first-time situation for Lily Backus in experiencing a super regional. And some may look at that, well, it's just softball, but yeah, there's a lot that goes into this environment and this feel and playing in, at not your home, and there's so much that goes into it. So I think being able to go out and just kind of recheck, see what your pitcher needs.
Woolery hitting .333 with the bases loaded. She's had a hit in 12 of their last 15 games. There's 2 for 10 in the NCAA tournament. Only 1 career grand slam. It was her first career home run, and that was off of Montana Fouts of Alabama. UCLA would take any more runs they could get. This game 1 of the Super is so important. 81% of the time, if you win game 1 of your Super Regional, you are moving on to Oklahoma City.
You wouldn't be opposed to change up down in the dirt here. Lindy Ray Davis being on her toes behind the plate.
This next pitch will be the 60th from Lily Backus, as the UCLA has really made her work here in the 3rd inning. Swing, and Lily Backus got her. The pressure not too much. UCLA does bring in 1 more run off the bat of Jadalyn Alchin. We will talk to the head Bruin, Kelly Inouye Perez, when we come back.
Well, and you cannot say that UCLA is not continuing.
We're talking now to UCLA head coach Kelly Inouye Perez. And Coach, what was the conversation like with your pitching staff about how do you approach this Georgia lineup that we've seen can swing the bat?
I strongly suggest not to miss over the plate.
Yeah.
They swing big. We know that. I know that's their game. I told them they had to execute pitches. Like your ability to understand, when to throw strikes and when to kind of stretch the zone. They're just higher level. We know that they can hit the long ball, so we've got to do everything we can to miss barrels. And KT's doing a great job of just being able to hit spots and kind of mix it up all over the place. I'm really proud of how she's performing.
Coach, I want to talk defense. Jadalyn Alchin laying it all out there. And I know you talk about the emphasis. Being able to have Caitlin Terry's back. Talk about your D a little bit.
I can't say enough, right? But we do have a saying. We say 9-on-1. So they all have each other's backs. But the plays that Jadalyn and Nelly are making, it can't help but breed confidence in the pitching staff.
Mm-hmm.
That ball was squared, and her ability to literally prevent that double, those are the things that you need at this time of the year. They're prepared to be able to make those big plays. We call it one shot, and that was a big-time play.
Hey, we might see it on SportsCenter tomorrow.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that was a big one. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Yeah, a huge grab for Jadalyn Alchin a couple of innings ago. Thought this one was
a double, no doubt.
Easy.
Yes, this was just a laser. So good. Coach Kelly Inouye-Perez talks about Jalen Alchin and Maonio in center, and just those two and their arms and their ability to read the game. And infield hurts you, but outfield kills you, in my opinion. So to be able to have people like that can play this ballpark so well, because to me, at times that can be the question mark for teams coming in. We saw a lot of teams get exposed last weekend in the regional with trying to go for the double. We saw about 5 outs at second base from them trying to extend it, not knowing or respecting the bounce back of the field. And UCLA able to play it so good. Obviously, it's their home field.
This is Jada Kearney leading off for Georgia. And we were talking in the break, too. Just like we've seen UCLA's lineup, they made quick changes second time through the lineup. You got to see that from Georgia here. You got to respond.
Yeah, I can't put enough emphasis that Georgia needs to try to get something going here. Only that one hit up on the board. I think those are the little things that give your pitcher that confidence, right? Like, yeah, Mosley got a hold of one, but who's going to be that next one in line? Who's going to pass the bat and kind of ignite this momentum into the offense that you know they're, gosh, one swing away from getting on a roll?
That one goes straight to the backstop. Jada Kearney, she carries a hot bat. 3rd in home runs in her career, 10th in walks. 20 home runs on the season, tied with Sarah Mosley, who bats behind her. Take that one for strike 2, and it's a full count. Jada Kearney, an athletic background in her family. Her dad played football at West Virginia. Jay Kearney, he was a wide receiver and a 6th-round pick by the Packers. But actually, her dad wasn't so keen on putting her in sports. It was actually her mom who did. She played soccer. She was a gymnast, horseback riding, basketball. But softball was the one that stuck. And Georgia's glad that it did.
Well, the multi-sport athletes thrive, in my opinion. If you're 10, 11, 12, and you're just down to one sport and you're trying to focus on that with your dreams of trying to get to college, the burnout's a real thing. I think there's something so special about being able to pour your energy into some different things, and then you kind of get to the tip of the iceberg, what you love, and you'll find kind of that love for it. But multiple sports helps you continue to keep that love going for a long time.
She'll foul off the 8th pitch of this AB. This is a great start for this inning for Georgia to see this many pitches for one batter.
And the one thing about Caitlin Terry, she has a change, but it's not something at times that she throws consistently or 4 strikes. So as a hitter, I have that in the back of my mind, knowing it's not a pitch she's 100% comfortable with. When you saw that last shot of Coach Tony Baldwin in the dugout, and he actually used to coach third base, and I asked him about his calm composure in the regional, and he said, honestly, like, the athletes have told me that I have this kind of calm presence in this voice, and it's the one thing they hear through the crowd noise, so likes being in the dugout for them. To be able to talk to the hitters coming up on deck, to just kind of be that little voice of reason, I think, in the moment, right? Because you trust your head coach, and just to know that he has that confidence in the athletes. They're constantly hearing his voice. He's in his back pocket. He said, I'm in the ABs with him.
And a walk.
And a little bit too inside. A little bit. I like the going in and establishing the in. If she could have got that a little bit more, that is going to be a strikeout look in, but a little bit too far inside. Really good, hard-fought battle by Jada Kearney and Caitlin Terry, and Kearney gets the best of her, but would have been frozen. Like I said, if this is a pitch that she could locate a little bit more.
Looking for 2. I mean, Maya Brady makes that look so easy. Like a magnet, it hopped into her glove. 2 double plays tonight for the Bruins.
Wow, this is exceptional. The pick to the bag to the cannon over to first, no doubt about it. Gosh, she makes it look easy, Courtney, honestly.
Now 12 double plays on the season for UCLA. 2 of them in this game.
And a quick 2 outs after an 11-pitch battle that Caitlin Terry didn't win. It just gives you this different confidence as a pitcher. I thought for a second this could be another base hit up the middle. And then she's at the bag. The speed that Brady's able to get to cover up the middle is so good. Almost puts just that hardcore stop in the momentum of Georgia. And we've seen them step up and be clutch with those double plays when they've tried to get anything going.
And now Terry's ahead of Lindy Ray Davis, the catcher, 1-2. Terry's issued 3 walks tonight, but her defense has had her back every single time. So good, she watched it come in. 3 strikeouts for Caitlin Terry, and a quick with your hitters facing Caitlin Terry as this game goes on.
Yeah, I think we just have to keep working to get on time. Right now, I feel like we're getting some good pitches to hit. I feel like we're attacking the right pitches. We just got to be on time a little bit more and try and do a little bit more damage.
Coach, the conversations that you're hearing the pitching coach Chelsea Wilkinson have with Lily Backus, especially that second, third time through the lineup here for going up against UCLA.
Yeah, I think Lily's doing a great job. She's really competing, and the truth is she managed that last inning really well. The difference in the game right now is the defense. They've made a couple great plays that have hurt our momentum, the diving catch in left field, and then certainly Maya making that play up the middle and the double plays. And then we had a couple opportunities in that inning and to make plays and get out of the inning, and we didn't do it. So a lot of credit to Lily for minimizing the damage in that inning and keeping us in the ball game. And, we're just a bloop and a blast away.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. A bloop and a blast. That's what Georgia's looking for.
But, as we take a look at the bracket here, Tennessee, Bama, I'm going to see them potentially match up against the winner of this one. One that I'm looking forward to, that Missouri-Duke.
Missouri, talk about backs against the wall.
Talk about Lauren Krings and the performance that she was able to have. Oklahoma came to play today against Florida State, but take it ever to Oklahoma City?
Savannah Pola takes the first pitch. Sydney Kuma got tripped up and dropped it, so Pola safe at second. And you heard Tony Baldwin talk about the difference the defense is making. Georgia has had some opportunities, and that was one of them.
These are just the little things that end up hurting you, right? Plays that this is a pop-up in the infield by Savannah Pola. And the way that Kuma's going back. Whether or not she needs to clear to let Jada Kearney have that, I believe, with you going back on your... And we saw it last weekend, but they are going to have to be better in order to have Backus's back.
And so UCLA will use a pinch runner at second base. Lauren Hatch will come in. And this is the bottom of the order, too. In the 7th spot, Seneca Curro. Georgia had talked about how important it was to take care of the bottom of the order. Curro laying down a bunt. That moves the runner to third. Let's do a defensive package. So one away, runner on third for Tessa Malaulu. Right back to a leaping Kuma.
Yeah, and this line shot right back at Sydney Kuma. Clutch defense in. That's what it's all about, being able to step up, make those plays, especially after, say, a little uncharacteristic error. Those are plays you usually tend to see Kuma make the plays before, but she has her pitchers back there.
So UCLA is going to use a pinch hitter here, Ramsey Suarez. Get this, pinch hitters for UCLA are hitting .429 this season, and Ramsey Suarez leads them all. She's 9 for 21. She's 5 of 6 here at Easton Stadium as a pinch hitter this season. That is not terrible.
The law of averages, I can appreciate it.
They taught that at Washington as well?
Mm-hmm.
First pitch to center. Sounded good off the bat, but Dallas Goodnight scoops it. And Georgia did not let that error put any more runs on the board. It's about how you respond.
29th, get a bundle of your choice on us. So you'll get a free phone and a smartwatch and a tablet. Yep, all 3 on us. Only at Verizon.
Heading into the 5th inning here in game 1 of our Super between UCLA and Georgia. Best 2 out of 3, and UCLA up right now 2-0. And back here at Easton Stadium, Courtney Lyle and Danielle Laurie with you. And you heard Tony Baldwin, Georgia's head coach, mention it. Defense has been so critical in this game, and it's gone in UCLA's favor. They've had some nice plays.
Yeah, defense is the stop, especially with the outfielders, and that's where we've seen them struggle a little bit. So I think the importance for Georgia to get the offense going is going to ignite the rest. But, man, UCLA on defense right now, and Maya Brady in the role that she's been on, any momentum that Georgia's trying to get, they just get out of it with those double plays. So it's been tough for Georgia to try to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, 2 double plays turned by UCLA, but what really set the tone was in left field. Jadalyn Alchin really in the gap. No gap anymore.
It's in our top 10 play. I don't know what is. And the little pick all day by Maya Brady. Any momentum going for Georgia. They continue to find a way. And those little bobbles and little miscues have ended up hurting Georgia. But listen, it's only a 2-run ball game. It feels like it's more than that, but it's only 2 runs. And I think the importance of remembering that, if you were Georgia right now, get something going. You're in the top of the 5th. It's just 2 runs.
This is a Georgia team that averages 6 runs a game. They can make up that ground very easily. Remember, in Game 6 of the regional last weekend, a game they had to win, they scored 14 runs. Right now, they're 0 for 7 with runners on. Sydney Kuma, Jaden Goodwin, and Emily Digby up for the Bulldogs against Caitlin Terry. Terry's only given up 1 hit tonight, and that was to Digby leading off the 3rd inning. She took the first pitch out for a hit. Oh, all right.
And like I said, a pitch that Caitlin Terry, I'll say maybe doesn't have the command to throw that 1 to 2 times per at bat, but just for her to whip it out in a situation like this is now in the head of the hitter. It's all about planting this seed of doubt in a hitter of like, okay, what's coming? Man, she just threw the change at a 1-1 count. Now it pushes me into that 1-2. Is she going to go upstairs with something? Is she going to go back to the change? And you start to get that maybe hint of doubt of a hitter and gives you that advantage in the circle.
And keep in mind, this is the whole cat and mouse game that Caitlin Terry, Charlize Palacios, and Kelly Inoue-Perez are playing, because Coach Inoue-Perez is calling the pitches. She took over that duty from Charlize Palacios, so Palacios could focus on her 2 underclassmen pitchers. That was early in the season.
I think it just took this different pressure off of Charlize Palacios with, dealing with these younger pitchers, but maybe not having the characteristic start. I think she put a lot of blame on herself, and it needed to be more, hey, you go and do what you need to do. Gel with those pitchers. Kelly Inoue-Perez says, I want to take the heat, and I want to be the one that's calling the pitches just to kind of give you that moment to gel. And that's been the coolest thing that you've seen with Palacios, her relationship and understanding that you know, how Caitlin Terry ticks is how she needs to be able to work behind the plate, and then how Taylor Tinsley, and she's gotten to know them so well.
And of course, Kelly I knows better than anybody what it's like to be a catcher at UCLA because she was one herself. So knows what it feels like to be in Charlize Palacios' shoes. She told us, Charlize makes me want to play again.
I would love to see that.
I know. I would.
2028 Olympics is coming, Kelly.
Yeah. LA 2028.
Yeah.
Couldn't get our act together for 2024, but unfortunately. Maya Brady, even the outstanding athlete that she is, that was going to be a tough play for anybody to make. And Sydney Kuma is on. Second hit of the game for Georgia.
Well, I like the smile by Maya Brady. She's pinched up the middle a smidge, and if she's playing regular, I mean, she makes this play, but gosh, I mean, you love the effort all the way, but just the way she was in the shift didn't allow her to be able to get to that ball.
I will say it was on target, though.
It was on target.
Even with the spinning leap in the air.
And kind of thinking right now on the Georgia offense piece, whenever they've got that lead off on base, all of a sudden stuff's happened defensively for UCLA. So if I'm the Georgia offense right now, that's the little piece that's fueling my fire. Hey, we got to continue to keep pouring momentum on, especially as the game goes down. I mean, there's 9 more outs left here for Georgia, and it's still only 2 runs. But
I mean, look at this situation right here. The tying run is at the plate.
Exactly.
And Jaden Goodwin.
Shorty, they call her.
Going with bunt back to Terry. That moves Sydney Kuma over into scoring position. Well, the Women's College World Series returns to Oklahoma City. The action begins Thursday, May 30th. That's a week from today. 12 Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2024 Women's College World Series, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships.
It's a good pitch by Caitlin Terry, one that she's continued to keep getting. I think that may have been a miss.
Emily Digby had the very first hit for Georgia in this game to lead off the 3rd inning.
And those seniors could not stop talking about Emily Digby today.
I asked, and their face lit up with a huge smile.
It really was. The impact that she's been able to make since she set foot on campus. And I think more so, too, like, just her bubbly personality. At times, you hear Sarah Mosley say, man, she's looking at me on defense. She's connecting. Jada Kearney, she's pumping me up. Maybe if I'm struggling in the dugout. It's a good leader. You don't always get that when you have freshmen that come on campus, because you think about at times the intimidation factor of a heavy senior class for Georgia. Like, you don't want to come in and step on any toes, but just found herself fitting right in.
Yeah, 9 graduate students on this Georgia roster. And Tony Baldwin told us, watching Emily Digby in recruiting, she was the same every time we watched her. And she was playing a different position, left field. Then at one point, her shortstop on her travel ball team got hurt, so she stepped in over there. And then she got to Georgia, and Tony said, you know what? Let's put her at first base.
Yeah.
She goes, all right. Challenge accepted. Strikeout number 4 tonight for Caitlin Terry.
Climbing the ladder. Pretty pitch by Caitlin Terry. This is clutch, especially at a 2-2 count. I don't think you can paint a prettier spot. Mixing up, getting in the eyes. Digby not able to hold.
So we're going to have a pinch hitter coming up, but also Kelly Inoue Perez out to the circle to talk to her in field. Jaden Fields will step in. This is a player that we've been used to seeing in the starting lineup for Georgia, but has slid into that pinch hitter role this season. Last 6 games, though, for Jaden Fields, a .500 average. She's 3 for 6 with an RBI.
I think this is the right move here with just her power that she has, and Armistead being in that 9 spot. This is a good switch, especially being that tie and run. Has some home run pop for sure.
4 home runs on the season for Fields. Sydney Kuma got on with a hit to start this inning, and now Jaden Fields at the plate representing the tying run.
And the way my brain thinks, Courtney, is, okay, you have a power right-handed hitter who's experienced, knows these types of moments well, and then you have a Dallas Goodnight who's had really non-competitive at-bats with that lefty-lefty matchup. So if I'm Caitlin Terry, I'm fully aware that I'm okay with the open base to attack that hitter instead of giving this hitter something she can do some damage with. But it works in their favor.
Yeah, it gets jammed up, and Seneca Curro all over it. Georgia leaves a runner in scoring position, and still the Bulldogs, no runs on the...
NCAA Softball Super Regionals continue through Sunday on the networks of ESPN.
It's a 2-run lead for UCLA, and it started with the very first batter of this game. Not a surprise when you realize the first batter is Maya Brady.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and I think that's what makes her so fierce in that leadoff spot. Sets the tone, has the pop, and then again, I mean, continuing to pour it on. She's been so key. Some defensive miscues for Georgia that they need to be able to shore up. But she's continued to be her old Maya Brady self.
Yeah, and facing Lily Backus. Circle, she's had that solo home run and the double you saw with the run scored. So now the 3rd time up against Lily Backus tonight. On Sunday, she moved into the top 10 in career hits in UCLA history. She is now tied for 9th after those 2 hits tonight. Maya Brady looking for the scoreboard. Hits herself in the face. She'll take it. Just incredible. She has gone yard twice. 10th multi-home run game of her career. The 4th time this season. That's the back-to-back Pac-12 Player of the Year.
To me, it's how much she can cover. And this is an opposite field home run, a pitch that got called a strike previous. Hits herself in the face in the big Tron. And then it's all about catching that candy from Kirk Walker.
And then Jadalyn Alchin attacking early right after her. And again, the 5th inning is where UCLA can do so much damage. If you're Georgia, do you contemplate a pitching change?
I do. I am warming up someone in the bullpen. I think it's important of keeping this score where it's at with one of your hitters to be able to get back in. Only 6 outs left for Georgia. So whether or not Krupix or Shelby Walter is in the bullpen, but I don't want anything to get too out of hand.
You say that, and Charlize Palacios steps up. Does not have a hit yet tonight. She walked in the 3rd inning. Was 4 for 9 last weekend in their 3 games at regionals with 3 home runs. Ooh, and that hitter.
Does not feel good. That curveball in on that back forearm, that right arm of hers. That's when the Terminator gear is not helping you out. It's on the wrong elbow.
Well, maybe you need to wear two.
Almost on the funny bone.
And so at first base, UCLA is going to use a pinch runner. This has been a story that's been followed a lot. Gabriela Jaquez from the basketball team came over before the NCAA tournament. They needed some depth in the pinch running department. She was only able to be here last weekend for one game because she had a family wedding, and she got in and then had to come out because apparently she wasn't on the lineup card, but she is on the lineup card now.
The crowd was on their feet last weekend, and it was a quick exit.
But yeah, a McDonald's All-American, a Jordan Brand Classic participant. She was actually co-MVP of the McDonald's All-American game. This is the first time I've talked about the McDonald's All-American game in a softball game. But Kelly I told us it's something that's happened a lot. They've gone to the soccer team, the track team, when they need some depth in that position, in that pinch running spot. Well, Megan Grant swings and gets a tiny piece of that one for strike one.
I just love watching Megan Grant hit, and her stance and her power come from the left side. I don't know why she reminds me of how like the Japanese swing it, but when I played over in Japan, it just gives me that same type of feel and approach in the box.
She's very methodical. She's very, she sticks to her routine every single time.
Everything, and that's something too with Mondo Gonzalez, their mental performance coach. He's been key in being able to help her throughout her process and routine. You can feel that UCLA has been knocking at the door here in Georgia, playing with fire a little bit, with momentum for this UCLA offense.
Kuma makes the play, but that does advance both runners into scoring position. And that's just the first out. Jordan Woolery, Lily Backus struck her out last time up. This inning started with a solo home run for Maya Brady. Stop me if you've heard that before. And then Jadalyn Alchin took the first pitch she saw after that for a single. Then we had a hit by a pitch that brings us to Jordan Woolery now, 2 in scoring position as UCLA tries to add to the lead.
And I feel like at times, we've said it all year with Georgia, it's not that they don't have the offensive threat. I mean, they have 92 bombs on the year. I just think it's just hasn't shown up all the time when they've wanted it to. And you know, as a pitcher, when your offense is rolling, you feel so good.
Jordan Woolery, are you kidding? Get out of here! 3 more runs on the board for UCLA. Her 9th home run of the season.
I mean, this is just tomahawked. So good. Dead center, no doubt about it. And you feel it as a pitcher. You know right off the bat, man. But you cannot say that Backus has not gone out there and thrown and affects the momentum of how a pitcher rolls.
And now we're going to have a pitching change. Shelby Walters stepping into the circle for Georgia. We'll introduce you to Walters when we come back.
You proudly served us. Now it's our turn turn to serve you at BMW of Coconut Creek, a proud member of the Morgan Automotive Group, Florida's largest automotive retailer. During our Hail to Our Heroes event, check out the new BMW X3 with over 100 available, or the electric BMW i7 sedan.
Duke stepping in, and she's actually pitched here before in a super regional when Duke came here a couple of years ago and faced the Bruins.
Yes, she has, and that senior is getting the opportunity here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 9-8 on the season. At times has battled injury and fatigue a little bit this year. I just think the time is right to bring someone new in. I almost feel like they should have done it a little bit sooner.
Yeah, Georgia has given up 2 home runs in this inning. It's the 17th multi-home run game for UCLA this season. And Walters is going to start with Savannah Pola with just 1 out. Jordan Woolery just sent one to the trees, a 3-run home run.
And you're getting a different velo than you are of someone like Lily Backus. I mean, Shelby Walters is the hardest thrower on staff. I think she does move the ball around well, but needs to be confident, has to trust that she's a senior.
Perfect placement for Pola. Right through the 5-6 hole, and she's on. 4th hit of this inning for UCLA.
And is it the curse of the 5th? It's always the 5th inning when I think about some of these big comebacks or just momentum shifters for UCLA. It's always in the 5th inning, and you're seeing it here yet again in the bottom of the 5th inning, putting up a 4 spot with only 1 up on the board, 1 down. And I almost feel like it happens so quick, and it almost can give this suffocating effect to a pitcher and to a defense. And obviously it starts with like that solo shot by Maya Brady, and then I think that just gives this different second wind to the hitters coming up for their 3rd ABs, and they just continue to keep going.
I think it's called Bruin Magic.
So in the dictionary, that's what
if you look it up. Merriam-Webster. Bruin Magic. It happens in the 5th inning.
I'm more of like a thesaurus gal.
Or a thesaurus?
Thesaurus. Same thing. It's the name of the Canadian. Yeah.
Brontosaurus.
It's fine. If anyone wants their grammar corrected, Courtney Lyle is the one that will...
Beth Mowens is the Dr. Mowens, if you will.
She hasn't corrected me on my grammar yet. You've done it actually quite a bit.
Good thing we're friends.
So.
Two balls and a strike to Curro. It's going to be short. Goodwin got it. 2 down. Well, coming up on Saturday at the NCAA Women's Lacrosse Final Four in Cary, North Carolina, the Florida Gators will face off against Northwestern at 3 p.m., followed by Syracuse and Boston College at 5:30. Both games on ESPNU and the app. Tessa Malaulu up now facing Shelby Walters, who entered in this inning after Georgia has given up 2 home runs, one of them being a 3-run shot by Jordan Woolery. Back up the middle. Hard hit ground ball by Tessa Malaulu, and now she's on a 4-game hitting streak.
And you have to remember that UCLA needs 2 runs, and this is a walk-off situation here.
Yeah,
So a couple runners on board. I mean, no home runs for Maonio, but I think her and being able to turn that lineup so quickly over to someone like Maya Brady.
You know, the winning run, the game-ending run, is at first base right now. Run roll up 8 runs after 5 innings. Janelle Maonio, 1 career home run. That was in 2021 against Grand Canyon. Runner is safe at second. That was close, though. Kuma got there as Lindy Ray Davis was trying to pick that runner. She's thrown out 35% of runners in the NCAA tournament.
And I think it's a smart review. They have not done it. She got the back half of the feet, whether or not her hand got in there. We have not seen a challenge yet.
Jim Bertuzzi is working second base for us tonight. And again, Georgia challenging this, but the decision will be made in Pittsburgh. All of the replay for all the super regionals done at a centralized location. It is really nice in the tournament. We have a 4-person umpiring crew, so there is an umpire at every base. And the original call was that the runner was safe.
Yeah, I think her hand got in there. I think call will be upheld.
So the original call is upheld. Runner is safe. I'm not sure if I would see enough on that replay to overturn that. So now 2 on. The winning run is at first base. Janelle Maonio at the plate. A ball and a strike from Shelby Walters.
It was close to coming up here.
I appreciate the mom arm coming out.
The arm bar strong.
Yeah. Maya Brady on deck if they can get to her. She led off this inning with a home run.
It's a good spot. Maybe a little bit out for Walters. I think that's the right spot at that 1-2 count. One thing I can say about Janelle Maonio in that 9 spot, she is so good at being such a tough out, constantly seeing pitches. She sees the ball so well, is that triple threat type hitter.
And now the pressure just builds even more with a full count here. Foul ball. Janelle Maonio, even though she started her career at Arizona, very familiar with these Bruin teammates. She played travel ball with Charlize Palacios and Maya Brady on the OC Batbusters. She went to Arizona, though, first, was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. Now in her 2nd season at UCLA. And she will take that free pass to load the bases for Maya Brady, who has 2 home runs and a double tonight. Her first game with 3 extra base hits in her career. What do you do with Maya Brady right now? The winning run is at second base.
I wish I had an easy solution to that question.
Yeah.
But the way that Jalen Alchin is swinging it too and not having an open base, it doesn't make sense in this moment for me to walk a run in to then go to Alchin, who has been so good too. This is a very challenging situation.
fouled it off. But keep in mind, too, the numbers for Maya Brady with runners in scoring position and 2 outs are astronomical. Runners in scoring position, 2 outs. She is hitting .875. The definition of clutch.
Well, and when I asked Tony Baldwin today, I'm like, what's your approach against Maya Brady and Palacios? Like, those 2 hitters right now are similar to your Sarah Mosey and Jada Kearney. And it was, well, the one thing I do have to continue to tell my pitchers, the law of averages sometimes, like, stuff will work out in your favor, but, 14 for 16 with 2 outs, a runner in scoring position. She's kind of fighting against those odds, I would say.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
0-2.
I don't think I want to give her anything in her wheelhouse, meaning to me, the inner half is her power zone. I'm going to live on that outside, expand the zone a little bit.
And Shelby Walters got her to swing and miss.
Clutch.
We play on. UCLA leaves the winning run at second and a
Sign up now.
For the love of football, for the love of the FA Cup.
NCAA Softball Super Regionals continue through Sunday on the networks of ESPN.
That is crazy good. This guy is something else. It's going to be fantastic.
Welcome back to NCAA Softball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Something about the 5th inning for UCLA. That's when they explode, and they did 4 runs in the 5th inning. Maya Brady with another home run tonight. And the Bruins up 6-0 here in Game 1 of our Super Regional. That one came back and hit her. Dallas Goodnight hopped back up and hit her while she was in the box, so she'll come back and do it again.
Good that she's still in the box.
Did it hit her in the face?
Yeah, it looked like it kind of got up top where the mask was, but defense on it.
We have noticed, we called the regional here last weekend, the ground in the infield is super hard, very bouncy. You can get some really high hops. In fact, that's how UCLA walked off against Virginia Tech. Thanks to the bat of Savannah Pola, just bounced it right over the third baseman.
The Georgia gals referencing today is cement with a little sand over it.
Yeah. Malauulu did not panic, didn't get there in time, but tried her best, and Dallas Goodnight is going to lead off here. Gets on for the first time after she struck out twice tonight.
Yeah, and that has to feel good for Goodnight. Challenges Malauulu, just not able to glove it up cleanly. A lot of speed up that line. And some momentum here for Georgia. And at this point, with only 6 outs left, it's like trying to get something going.
Sydney Chambly. Towards Brady. UCLA will get the lead runner, no chance at their 3rd double play of the night. But Maya Brady, we mentioned, was a top 10 finalist for the National Player of the Year this year. Did not make it into the top 3, although had a very strong resume for it. But man, there's so many good finalists, and they're in action in supers.
And I say this because this is how I feel. I really feel like they need to have a pitcher and a hitter.
Jada Kearney finding some grass in right. 2 on now, 2 hits in this inning for Georgia.
Because you and I were just talking about it, we're like, man, how is like someone like Maya Brady not on that list right now? And it's like, well, you have to cut it down to 3, and Kilfoyle and Nyjah Kennedy have been outstanding this year, and you also look at Reese Atwood with Texas and her numbers.
Sarah Mosley up.
It's a great pitch by Caitlin Terry, especially right out of the gate. It's a pitch that Sarah Mosley is not expecting 0-0.
Hopped back to Terry. She'll go to third. And gets the lead runner, so Chamblee is retired, 2 on for Georgia. Caitlin Terry, her very first career super regional. Looking pretty good. She struck out 4.
She's looking really good, Courtney. She's calm, cool, and collected. And I think anytime there's been momentum on the base pass or something's happened, she's found a way to dial it in. And it's been the defense. And ultimately, when your defense has your back, it gives you this extra confidence in the circle. And that's something we've seen that's been a point of emphasis since that Arizona series where Kelly Inouye-Perez called timeout. They were down, called everyone in, and made it very clear, do you have Caitlin Terry's back? And everyone acknowledged. And I feel like since that moment on, it's just been this different type of aura on the defensive piece for these athletes. And I don't know, it makes a big difference when you give up that, free pass on the walk or the base hit, and then it's bang, double play. And I also think these are defining moments for Caitlin Terry to get a good gauge of what the postseason feels like. First time ever playing in a super regionals. And I mean, she's probably one of the most confident freshmen that I've gotten the chance to be around, just even getting to sit and talk with her before the regionals last weekend. So, she's just built different, loves these moments. When I say ice in her veins, like that's the type of pitcher that she is. So to me, it's not necessarily that the moment will ever feel too big for her.
Well, she's the first freshman at UCLA to have a 20-win season in the circle since Rachel Garcia did it in 2017. She was only a 2-time National Player of the Year and an Olympian. In the change and set down Lindy Ray Davis for the second time. That is 5 strikeouts tonight for the freshman.
Listen, the beauty of this pitch for me, Courtney, is
what a fantastic matchup. This is going to be a great fight.
The NCAA Softball Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Well, 4 teams got to open up our super regional round tonight. We saw Oklahoma beat Florida State, and now UCLA is 2 runs away from ending this game early in Game 1 against Georgia. They will start off with Jalen Alchin, the number 2 hitter, followed by Charlize Palacios and Megan Grant. Georgia was forced into a pitching change in the last inning after giving up 2 home runs, 1 to Maya Brady, and then a 3-run home run to Jordan Woolery. Oh, perfectly placed. Alchin has been on it. 3 singles in this game, including an RBI single in the 3rd. And she's gone really early, like at the first pitch swinging.
Well, she's 50.6% first pitch swinging. And that is rare. You'll see actually a lot of hitters nowadays that are taking first pitches in the 40s and 50% range. So when you have someone that's able to step up consistently, knowing that pitchers are going to give you something good early, you've seen her have success with that.
Now Charlize Palacios representing the winning run at the plate. She's had a home run in 4 of her last 5 games.
And you know, Palacios is just wanting to go yard here and end this. It's kind of been the role that she's been on as the weeks have gone on since Pac-12 tournament to the regionals last weekend.
Foul ball. So Palacios has just been built differently in the postseason. She's reached tonight twice via the walk and the hit by a pitch. Lifting it to right but short and grabbed by Kearney. Runner holds at first. Coming up on Saturday at the NCAA Men's Lacrosse Final Four in Philly, the defending champ Notre Dame taking on Denver at noon Eastern, followed by Maryland and Virginia at 2:30. Both games on ESPN2 and the app. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern time, we will have Game 2 of this series for you on ESPN2. And then the rest of the Super Regionals get underway starting at noon tomorrow on ESPN2. So close are these teams to the Women's College World Series. Megan Grant at the plate.
I feel like this is just a UCLA offense that almost gives you this smothering effect, and it happens so quickly. And I mean, to me, it's how they work their at-bats. They're so patient, waiting for pitches that are in their wheelhouse. I think the numbers don't lie. This is a team that knows the importance of winning Game 1 of a Super Regional. 81% of those teams go on to punch their ticket to Oklahoma City. So, but this is an offense that was scary even from the jump at the beginning of the season, where, hey, maybe it was an uncharacteristic start for them, but the fear factor of this lineup 1 through 9 has not changed. It's just at times been the question mark of how UCLA is going to be able to hang in the circle.
Like right now, Georgia feeling the pressure in the circle because the winning run is at first base with Jordan Woolery at the plate, who hit a 3-run home run off of Lily Backus the last time she was up. This one's going to roll to Kuma. She was not able to tag the runner going to second, but does retire Woolery. But now the winning run at second base for the Bruins with 2 outs.
And this was a close one. Kuma, so good at fielding her position at second base, knows the runner's going right by, tries to apply the tag, just misses. Fake till you make it. Fake me out.
So pinch runner at second base for UCLA. They'll bring in Taylor Stevens. Saw her as a pinch runner last week. Savannah Pola at the plate. She walked it off against Virginia Tech in UCLA's come-from-behind win last weekend on Saturday at regionals. Can she walk it off here with the winning run on second? Paula pokes it through. Winning run is coming around, and the throw not in time. Savannah Paula clutch again, and the Bruins have a run rule win in supers. Their first run rule super victory since 2010 against Louisiana.
And interesting enough, that was the year they went on to win the Women's College World Series.
Yeah, one of the 12 times they've done that.
Has their back, and you just look at tonight, Palacios only had the one walk and the hit by pitch, but was not as hot as she needed to be. And then you have someone like Maya Brady, that can continue to get the rest of the offense going. A couple home runs for her tonight. Apo Taco, a double, the list goes on. Man, one of the best players to do it in a Bruin uniform.
Yeah, and Maya Brady is joining us now. Maya, what was the talk like into this super regional against Georgia?
Yeah, I think, honestly, this team is just super convicted. After last year, obviously, it was heartbreaking. So to even get to this point is honestly a win for us. We're just all super grateful. We knew that we were capable of it. So I think this week, just going in against a great opponent, great pitchers, great hitting team. And I think, honestly, it was just like a lot of confidence and really wanting to get to the next level. I think that's kind of been our goal all year. And we've really been focusing,